Oh, hi, podcast listeners. There's many ways you can listen to the Real Nerds podcast. You can subscribe on iTunes. You can also subscribe on Stitcher Radio. You want to send us a Twitter message? You can do that. It's so easy, at Real Nerds. Like us on Facebook, Real Nerds Podcast. You can visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com, where there'll be a lot of articles for you to not only read, but to listen to our previous shows. Do you like your stories told through pictures? Then you can also follow us at Real Nerds on Instagram. You can also call us, 720-6nerds5. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the show.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ming Chen from AMC's Comic Book Men. Listen, I have my own podcast. I have my own podcast studio. I don't really care about those. What I really care about is the Real Nerds podcast, the best podcast in the universe, in the multiverse, on all Earths, 616 and beyond. Listen to it. Subscribe right now, and listen to this episode. Listen to all the episodes, but especially listen to the one that I'm on. It might be the best. Thank you, guys.
This is Real Nerds Podcast, and for over 10 years, we have seen a new movie and podcast our experience to the world. This week, we saw Spider-Man No Way Home. I am joined this week by Brad.
Hey.
Zach.
Hello.
And Corinne, are you still in Kansas?
I am, yep. I'll be here until after
Worst state
Christmas.
ever.
Nah, that's West Virginia.
No, West Virginia is actually really nice.
They got some political
I've
problems.
opened a Qdoba there. I've also opened a Qdoba in Hutchinson, Kansas, so I've been to both.
Can I tell you something, Ryan?
Cool.
I think I've fallen in love with Qdoba this past week.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I went over there. I went over there with Malia, and we got their queso and chips and just dipped on them. And I was just like, man, I've been missing so much. Like, I don't think I'd ever had their queso before.
Qdoba.
I do like it that you get queso for free on your burritos and stuff. Because they don't do that at Chipotle.
Oh, no. No, you can get free queso at Chipotle if you are getting a quesadilla with them. And that's like one of their sides. But their queso's not good.
Funny story. You actually really don't get it free at Qdoba. They raise their prices like 15%. I know this because I was there when they did it.
Oh, are you saying that Qdoba has been lying to me just as I entered a lasting friendship with it?
Yeah. But Qdoba, fun fact, it's not actually 3 cheese queso. There's 6 cheeses in it. Just 3 cheese sounds better. Do you feel better now that you know that?
No, not really. It didn't raise my salary. It didn't provide an affordable place to live. So, no.
It just happens when you work there for 6 years and you're a corporate trainer and you see the beautiful Hutchinson, Kansases and Charleston, West Virginias and some shit place in Nebraska and some shit place in Wyoming and some shit place in Utah. You just really see shit places.
Just a sea of shit is what you're telling me.
Yes. But
Dang.
We also talk about movies that are coming out on Blu-ray movie news, stuff we've been watching. But because this is my show and I do whatever the fuck I want to do on my show, this week, our movie of the week is Spider-Man No Way Home. Brad, do you recommend Spider-Man No Way Home?
Oh my God, we're doing next year's format already?
We're going to end game it.
Yes. I just love throwing good curveballs.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for this at all. What was the question?
Do you recommend Spider-Man No Way Home?
I mean, again, if you and I have the same movie taste, then yes, this might be one of the best movies of the year.
Brad, you're a critic. You need to say yes or no. You don't have to, put a little qualifier on it.
Yeah,
no, Ryan, if he was a critic, he would go, "It stinks."
Yo,
I am not a critic, and
you are an actor.
Roger Ebert was a critic, and I wouldn't watch the movies that he liked. So, that doesn't mean anything.
Wow, way to spit on Ebert's grave. Jesus.
He's fine.
well, it's like he could say anything about it because he had throat cancer and couldn't talk the last 10 years of his life.
Ryan, come on, dude. Dude.
What?
Oh.
I kill you with truth.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, Brad says one of the best movies of the year. Corinne?
It was a little long and kind of derivative of everything that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse did better. And I kind of just checked out at the end, and I just keep messing with you. I know it's like the best movie of all time, so I'll go see it like a billion times.
Yay. Zach?
Whew. I guess whatever I say will determine whether or not Ryan comes to my house and beats me to death. Of course, I love the movie. I think it's possibly my second favorite Spider-Man movie ever now at this point. But I can't get into why until we talk about the plot. So yes, go see it. Clearly everybody's seen it. The only news story we have this week is that it's the top grossing movie since the pandemic. Yeah, of course, go see this movie.
As the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man fan, it's there's certain movies that you wait your whole life to see, and sometimes you don't know when you're going to see them. And this is one of them. This is one of the greatest theater experiences I've ever had. And as a Spider-Man fan, it's one of the coolest things I've ever experienced. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, I mean, who hasn't? I mean, it's already made like $300 million in like 4 days. So go see it. Here's a trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home.
Ever since I got bit by that spider, I've only had 1 week where my life has felt normal. That was when you found out.
When you botched that spell where you wanted everyone to forget the Peter Parker Spider-Man, we started getting some visitors. From every universe. Hello, Peter. You're not Peter Parker.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Dr. Otto Octavius.
Wait, no, seriously, what's your actual name?
There are others out there. We need to send them back. So, Scooby-Doo this crap.
You know, all this is kind of your mess. I know a couple of magic words myself, starting with the word please.
Please, Scooby-Doo this crap.
You're flying out into the darkness to fight ghosts.
What do you mean?
They all die fighting Spider-Man. It's their fate. I'm sorry, kid.
Yeah, me too.
Don't.
Look, there has to be another way.
There isn't. They're a danger to our universe.
You're not gonna take this away from me.
Peter, you're struggling to have everything you want while the world tries to make you choose.
This is all my fault. I can't save everyone.
They're starting to come through, and I can't stop them.
December 17th, exclusively in movie theaters. Tickets on sale November 29th. Spider Monday.
Sweet. So Spider-Man No Way Home starts right where Far From Home left off, where Spider-Man, his identity is revealed by Quentin Beck and picked up by J. Jonah Jameson, who in this universe is an Alex Jones type. And by doing that, he is now wanted by the government. And the trailer kind of lays it out for you. He goes, sees Doctor Strange. He does a spell, but Peter, being Peter, decides to get in the way. And he messes the spell up. And it's cool because Strange thinks he contains it, but he doesn't. What ends up happening is it unleashes everybody who knows who Peter Parker is into their universe. And that's why we get Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin, Jamie Foxx as Electro, Thomas Hayden Church, Sandman, and the lizard guy. Is he really in the movie? I couldn't tell.
He is not very much. They definitely had like a tier
actor,
of
Pete.
Yeah, he's in there at the end when they hear
No,
him.
I mean, I couldn't tell if that was just leftover footage from Amazing Spider-Man or he actually filmed scenes.
Ryan, he has a name. His name is Reese Ifans.
Oh, that's right. But yeah, so by this happening, Peter doesn't think it's his responsibility to save them, and he wants to send them back, but May tells him that his job is to help people. That's what Spider-Man does. And that's how we propel this movie forward.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I can't even tell you, like, being a Spider-Man fan, what I loved about this movie, and I am not beholden to any origin story or who Peter Parker is. That's why, the color of his skin or who he is underneath the mask doesn't matter. It's who he is as a person.
She is.
Yeah, it's who he is as a person. So what I loved about this movie and what shocked me the most is it's Spider-Man's origin story after he's become Spider-Man. Because what this movie did really smartly is stripped him away of everything that he is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and left him alone. And I mean, that's all the way at the end of the movie, but I did not know I was getting a Spider-Man origin story. And
it's like the best version of the origin story we've gotten since Raimi did the origin story.
And it's because, they never really mentioned Uncle Ben in the MCU. There's an off comment that Pete makes when he meets Tony Stark in Civil War that he says, when you have the powers I do, you don't help those people. It's kind of that, but they never mention if Uncle Ben.
I don't think he's in the universe at all because he's not buried next to Aunt May.
Yeah, I think it's literally just Aunt May.
So, well, I don't know about this version of Peter Parker, but I know that I was rewatching What If this week, and in the zombie episode, he does mention losing Uncle Ben. So
yeah, but I mean, the zombie universe is an MCU Peter Parker. He's I know this because I got the Zombie Hunter Spider-Man figure. It's like Earth. It's a different number.
Right.
But yeah,
obviously.
But he also, I was trying to think, and I don't know if he does ever refer to her as Aunt May either. I swear he just calls her May all the time. So
did she adopt him?
Or is she just a friend? I don't know.
Did she find him on a doorstep of a monastery and then she renounced her vows? No.
I think he sometimes refers to her, like when he's talking to other people, as like his Aunt May.
Maybe. I can't remember.
Yeah.
He certainly doesn't refer to his Uncle Happy because they've broken up, guys.
Yeah. But this movie is so smart, and when you have, because you're having so many villains And yes, a big selling point is, Willem Dafoe as Goblin and Alfred Molina. I mean, that's a selling point, but to have it pulled off, and I was texting Zach before he went and saw it, and I told him that Willem Dafoe is like the MVP of this movie. Because
Ryan, he's the main villain of the movie.
Oh yeah, because it's just, I don't know. There's just like moments that, as a Spider-Man fan, that you're taking something I know so well, and then you're changing it enough for it to be awesome as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because you're taking what I know about the Willem Dafoe character in Raimi's universe, where he suffers from personality disorder, and I thought it was ingenious, even though you kind of know the twist is probably coming, with May telling Peter, you can't just send him back to die. That's not who you are. And MJ has that line too, when Octavius mentions, why are you going to help us? And she says that because that's who he is.
Can we quickly address, though, there's this like really interesting, poignant moment where you have Defoe at that shelter with May.
Oh yeah.
This is one of the reasons why Willem Dafoe will always be one of our greatest actors. He plays Norman as the damaged figure that he is, from a more realistic point of view than he ever even got to do in the Raimiverse. Like the idea of a wandering homeless person with a personality disorder or who's struggling and who needs help. Like that's the angle he's playing. Like that's the motivation he's playing with as his ploy. And it's like, it's kind of a genius move on the story's part and on his part to incorporate that into the mix.
Yeah. It's, I saw it opening day within the very first showing, and there's just moments. I love seeing these movies with crowds so much, because it's in the trailer, but when the Goblin shows up and you hear and the pumpkin bomb bounces, my theater like cheered.
Mm-hmm.
And
I jumped in my seat,
and people were going, and Octavius is shocked that he's alive, and then when Pete's pulled away by Strange, and you can hear the audience gasp in my theater, like, what the fuck is going on? And I also think Doctor Strange is really cool in this movie too, because he's kind of an antagonist too, where
is this like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like when we get his fight scene where we take him into the mirror dimension, I feel like that's somehow the coolest version of the mirror dimension done yet. And keeping in mind that it was done beautifully in the first Doctor Strange, that fight was just fucking incredible.
It's because what's really cool is, Pete messes up by, fucking with the spell, but Cumberbatch plays Strange with so much arrogance that he thinks, even though Pete messed up his spell, he thinks he contained it and there's nothing to worry about. And I mean, there is. And by Pete wanting to save everybody and Strange not understanding it, and Strange has a point too, but someone like, and that's what I love too, is this film explored a lot of these villains are by accident in Spider-Man. Not a lot of them choose to be this way. And
yes, because the real villain of any Spider-Man's universe is ultimately science.
Yep. And there's even there's a great moment with Sandman and Electro, and he says, I fell in, a vat of electric eels. I fell in I forget the name of the fucking sand displacer. But
like
also
neutron collider or something like that. Yeah.
Jamie Foxx is awesome in this movie, because the scene where Peter brings him back to Happy's thing and he's working on curing him. One, Alfred Molina's turn is so good because he plays Octavius, conflicted when he's talking to the kids in the wizard's dungeon, where he wants to talk to him, all of a sudden he gets pissed. And when he comes back to being, Otto, who we met at the beginning of Spider-Man 2, as a Spider-Man fan, I loved it. Because he's just being controlled by something else. And I don't know, the turn at that moment, where Peter Tingle goes off and he's walking around, he's trying to figure out what's going on. And they play it that maybe Electro's going to be the one who snaps, because he doesn't want to lose his power. And the instant change of Willem Dafoe from Norman Osborn to the Green Goblin I think it's actually kind of scary. I think he plays it well.
So like 2 scenes before that, or whenever they were working, and I think it's after Octavius has been cured, but it's before the Peter Tingle thing happens. There's like that conversation where, Octavius is like, you'll be whole again, you won't have a darker half. Mm-hmm. And just the way Willem Dafoe delivers just the simple phrase of like, yes, my darker half. It's like borderline between like Goblin personality and Osborn personality. And you can almost hear it. Like the second time around, you can really kind of hear the Goblin delivery in that.
Yep. And I think it's ingenious how they incorporated kind of a new Green Goblin costume by clothes that May found at Feast, where it's a purple hoodie and the green jacket. That was fun. My theater went crazy when Matt Murdock showed up.
Oh my fucking God. They hid that very fucking well, because I didn't see that coming a mile away. That was great. And so it must have been a tipping point when Kevin Feige said a couple days prior, Charlie Cox is part of the MCU now. Like, I guess I should have put the dots together, but
they kind of went away when they did the IMAX trailer and the guy in the interrogation room, because people thought that would have been Charlie Cox, and like, no, it's not. So I guess he's not in the movie. And it was a fun little scene. I
a really good lawyer.
Yeah, I absolutely adore this movie. Brad, you're quiet.
I think I have a lot of thoughts. First up being that it kind of shocked me that after like 20 years of these big budget superhero movies, the plot of this one is the hero has to save the villains.
Mm-hmm.
Like that just seems like, wow, I can't believe no one's really done that before. After as many as we've had, so that was just like a really charming story. And then just seeing the other past Spider-Man, Toby and Andrew, like when Andrew jumps and saves Michelle, like even my heart of ice was just like, oh my God, he got to redeem like a thing like that ruined him.
I lost it because and Andrew Garfield is so good in this movie. And I remember reading an interview with Kevin Feige after Amazing Spider-Man 2, and they did Homecoming, and he told Amy Pascal, the kind of the person who does Spider-Man movies, is that Andrew Garfield is really good as Spider-Man, but you guys are having him all over the place emotionally as Peter Parker, and he needs you guys need to focus the narrative a little more. And him in this film is amazing in this film. And that moment I cried. And in my theater, when even I should just be used to these portals like revealing the greatest things ever, but Ned talking about it, and it was funny because when I saw it the second time, I missed the lines when he was talking to Strange. He's like, sometimes I feel tingles in my fingertips, and my grandma says I have power. And Strange says, no, you need to see a real doctor or a physician. And he's letting him know that he actually does have this magical ability. But I don't know how it was in your guys' theater, but when he says, show me Peter Parker, and Peter 3 turns and you can tell it's the Amazing Spider-Man suit, people went crazy.
Yeah, my first screening was nuts. Like, literally every screen I've been to has been packed. But
me too.
Yeah, that first one was just like off the hook. Like, people got every reference. Like when Willem Dafoe says, "I'm something of a scientist myself." Like, everyone gets the meme.
God, that callback.
When Doc Ock is like, the power of the sun in the palm of my hand, and there is one thing. Like, I'm just like, I wish it wasn't so self-contained, because just imagine another movie where Max Dillon has the arc reactor. Like, it's kind of, in the interest of time, played off, but like, if you really think about it, like, him in possession of an arc reactor is really dangerous. So it's like, that could be a whole other movie.
Electro's already a really dangerous villain. And yeah, you get that included. And what's cool, even though this movie has so much in it, everybody has a moment in it that you adore. And, and Toby showing up, dude, there's just parts of me that I can't even explain the joy seeing this film. And 20 years of movie going is played out in front of me. And not only that, is they gave everybody a redeeming arc. Everybody. Well, except Norman, but like, everybody gets one. And like I said, it's an origin story for Peter 1, because even when he fights the Goblin in the condominium, that fight's brutal and awesome.
Yeah.
For a so big movie, that fight with Green Goblin was so contained, and it showed the power of the Green Goblin that you never really saw before. And he makes good on his promise from the first Spider-Man, where he's trying to break Peter Parker. And so he gets May, and you're watching Pete's origin happen right there. Because even in the early ones, he's given these high-tech suits and all this other stuff. And I lost it when May died, because
I cried, Ryan. I fucking lost it.
In my theater, she's like, "I'm fine," and then he walks away, and she kind of like stumbles a little bit back. And in my theater, you could hear multiple people go as she fell down. And dude, Tom Holland is so good in this moment. And she says the line, with great power must also come great responsibility, is how it's written in the actual Spider-Man comic. And she's right. And Toby says it, she didn't die for nothing, which the rage that Tom Holland's Peter Parker has is understandable. And when they're all explaining their loss, and when Peter 3, Andrew Garfield's talking about the rage he had when Gwen Stacy died, and something that Amazing Spider-Man 2, although I love the movie, I always love Spider-Man movies, they kind of glaze over. It's like, oh, it happened, because we're trying to get this storyline in. But him telling that story about it didn't get better just because I was angry and I almost killed someone. And then Peter too, with Toby, when he talks about, I did find the guy who I thought killed Uncle Ben, and I did kill him. And it doesn't make it better.
I have a question, Ryan, because the fact that we got this only happens obviously with the Sony Marvel merge of stuff, but I didn't think they'd bring Maguire back, but I kind of figured they would try to bring Garfield back in order to tie up the threads from the Amazing Spider-Man series. I'm not going to lie, like, this film made me want to reevaluate those films, because I did not give them much of the time of day when they came out. But like, Garfield's great in this movie.
Oh,
Like
he's fantastic.
He is absolutely crushing every single moment he is given. And Maguire hasn't lost his touch.
I think this movie makes all those movies better.
Yeah.
Yeah, infinitely so. It's almost like you not only get an amazing Spider-Man 3 out of this in a certain respect, you also get the Spider-Man 4 we never got, which is kind of cool.
I'm going to give a shout out.
Game of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Kind of,
I'm
yeah.
going to give a shout out to the score because it was awesome. Every time a villain showed up, they played the theme from the movie mixed in with the No Way Home themes or the music they made new for it. It's just I can't say enough about how much I love this movie.
I have a question though, like how damaging is it really that people don't remember Spider-Man? Because I'm pretty sure like computers have a record of everything he did with the Avengers and Stark Industries. So I'm like, all someone has to do is just like accidentally open a file and, you know, eventually people can start connecting the dots, right?
Well, I mean,
it's not like the spell erases the computer memory, right?
Get like a comic booky in it. It's the spell. So even if you see something with Peter Parker associating with Spider-Man, you don't see it. So he basically has changed the fabric of the world by it. And yeah, I mean, that's what I mean at the beginning is it's an origin story because Peter loses the most important person to him, which is his Aunt May. And then he makes the decision that I can stop this if nobody knows who I am. Not that I'm Spider-Man, but who I am. And by doing that, it's so clever because you basically reset Spider-Man where now he's by himself. I mean, he lives in a shitty apartment again. He has a homemade costume. He lost all the Stark tech. And he's just Peter Parker. And I mean, I guess the only one I wish there was Rent. I wish that guy was his landlord. But, you know, we all can't get what we want. Yeah. I've fucking loved this movie.
Can I talk about my favorite moment in the movie really quickly? Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
I'm going to Willem Dafoe. You know, there is a moment. There's several moments throughout this film where we get certain things rectified from Raimi. Not that there's needing to rectify, but like when we get rid of that mask, and Dafoe's face is perfectly shaped to be the Goblin without a mask. But when they inject the cure in him, there's this moment where Dafoe just looks around and he goes, "What did I do? Or what have I done?" And I'm like, this is the first time since that serum back in the first Spider-Man movie that he has felt any sense of normalcy. That's insane to think about. Like, I'm so happy they brought him back. Even if it was just for like a small moment like that, like, I'm glad we got him as a big co-star, but Jesus, like that was just, it's honestly, Ryan, I like his performance here better than the first Spider-Man. And that's saying a lot because I love that first Spider-Man.
Well, I think here though, it helps the performance because you know what happens to him.
Yeah.
And you know he can't control it. So if you go off of that, then it's a better performance because his turn it's heartbreaking and scary at the same time.
It is.
Because it's everything about it. And then, you know, even Electro, when he gets his cure and he's talking to Andrew Garfield and he says, you know, you help poor people and all that stuff. I just thought you'd be black underneath the mask. And he's basically saying that Miles Morales is around. And
well, he's hoping that there is, but we all know because of Into the Spider-Verse, we know there's a Miles Morales out there.
Exactly. So those are kind of like the wink winks that the audience knows. But even then, because I think Jamie Foxx is so great as because he's also, you're waiting for him to turn too, because he doesn't want to lose his power.
Doesn't want to go back to being a nerd.
Yeah.
Was there 6 villains or just 5?
Just 5.
Just 5.
So we didn't really get a Sinister Six out of this, right?
No.
I mean, I guess Venom's at the end, but
yeah.
I mean, I think
So-
5 was already a little crowded because, like Ryan was kind of saying earlier, they didn't really do much with the lizard.
yeah, they literally said like, "Oh, he's not coming up because we we don't want to CGI him into the apartment." Like, what's the point? We have nothing for him to do.
Right. I mean, the villains definitely had tiers in terms of like some got more screen time than others. Like I'd say the top tier was, Green Goblin and Octavius, and then middle was kind of like Electro, and then lower tier was Sandman and Lizard.
Well, because even in Spider-Man 3, the Sandman, and in this movie too, he really doesn't want to be a bad guy because he even helps Spider-Man at the beginning. And he just wants to go home, and that's his whole thing, is he wants to spend time with his daughter. And what's his line in Spider-Man 3? I'm not a bad guy. I've just had hard times or something like that.
God, that's one I've seen the least, probably.
Yeah, so it's something along the lines of that.
It's interesting because Sandman, as far as we know, isn't going back to die, because Sandman lives at the end of Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, but remember, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man wanted a way to help him too, and so he kind of is able to help him. And the Lizard in Amazing Spider-Man, he saves Peter Parker in that one. After he turns back to Dr. Kirk Connors, he's just as a Lizard, he's smart and he knows it, and he never really wanted to be part of, it seems like, the evil scheme that the Green Goblin and Electro did anyways.
Right.
He was just kind of there. And I mean, because when the Goblin and Pete are fighting in the condominium, he said, he grabs him and throws him back in and says, "I told you this was going to happen," and runs away.
I have a question though. Like, so now you've got this, there's obviously gonna be another solo movie, but like, what do you do villain wise? Because you've burned off like a lot of the great Spider-Man villains in this one movie. So I guess whatever they going forward with like this new version of Spider-Man, I guess you get to use Kraven, Rhino, and Scorpion. Like, what's the other big things?
I mean, obviously they're setting up Venom.
Ryan, we set up the fact that we can bring back Paul Giamatti as the Rhino, and I don't think we should miss that opportunity.
As great as it was seeing them in this, like, it also means that there's not going to be like this universe version of Goblin or Doc Ock or Sandman,
I mean,
I think it'd be cool if they made an original villain.
Yeah. It's hard because the fans are always going to want someone they're familiar with. And if you're going to make a villain for a comic book movie, they better be really fucking good, because you can end up with someone like New Goblin and people are not happy.
Well, Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, if they're bringing Kingpin into Hawkeye, then what's to stop them from bringing Kingpin into a Spider-Man movie? Because isn't Kingpin, he's a Spider-Man villain, right? He was Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, his first appearance is Amazing Spider-Man number 50. I always thought it'd be interesting, and that they're not that popular, but I think the idea is cool, is the Spider Slayers, where J. Jonah Jameson hires a scientist to create robots that can kill Spider-Man, and their sole purpose is to hunt him down. I think that'd be a cool story.
I think it'd be cool if they brought Black Cat in, because we've never seen Black Cat in a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. How would you feel about Scorpion? Because I'm looking at a list right now, and I forgot about Scorpion.
Well, he's Into the Spider-Verse. He doesn't get to do much, but he's in it.
He's kind of in this movie.
Yeah, and technically he's in Homecoming as well.
Did you see the silhouettes in the multiverse?
Yeah,
for Rhino and Scorpion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Kraven. Well, I mean, they're starting to shoot that Kraven movie, which, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's probably the story people want to see adapted next, is Kraven's Last Hunt.
Ryan, what about Hobgoblin? Because you could feasibly presume that somehow somebody develops the same tech as Norman.
Yeah, I mean, could. I mean, the Hobgoblin's whole thing is he steals the Green Goblin stuff and tries to become a crime lord, so he could have the Hobgoblin take on Kingpin, and Spider-Man's caught in the middle.
Yeah, I'm still looking at this list, Ryan. Molten Man.
Yeah, Molten Man is Mark Raxon, who is basically lava skin guy.
I'm okay. I found it, guys. The ultimate one, Kangaroo.
Yeah, there's Kangaroo, the Grizzly.
Let's do Kangaroo.
Well, there's going to be some, a lot of possibilities here because Tom Holland he's going to be returning for another trilogy of Spider-Man movies.
Maybe.
That's what was floating around a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Well, what if Uncharted takes off?
They mentioned that, and he said, "Yeah, I'm going to take a break for a little bit. We'll see." I mean, obviously they're going to make another one. This movie's made way too much money, and it's going to. I think
it'd be cool if they did a Spider-Man and Daredevil movie. I mean, he was in this movie, and they could team up to take down Kingpin.
Yeah, that's why I'd be shocked if they already don't have it kind of mapped out what they're going to do. And it's really just, my guess is Spider-Man might take a break for a little bit because he's been in so many movies the last 5 years. And they're going to have those 2 Spider-Verse movies this year or next year and the following. So it might be a couple years before we see Spidey again.
And you saw it in 3D. How was that?
Oh, it was good. It wasn't as good as when I saw Endgame in 3D, but like the mirror dimension was radical.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I saw in 3D too, actually 4DX, but yeah, for most there's like long stretches of the movie where there's almost not much going on, but yeah, the mirror universe and then the multiverse cracking at the end in 3D, all looked pretty sweet.
Yeah, and there's the little moments when the condominium's falling down and the Green Goblin's flying looks pretty sweet. But yeah, I don't know. It wasn't, because when I saw Endgame in 3D, even in the opening scene where Hawkeye is with his family, they're shooting, the bow and arrow, the ground and the tree came to the foreground. So I always thought that was really impressive. Yeah, it was all right. Yep. And that's Spider-Man No Way Home.
Wait, Brad, didn't you see it in 4DX?
Oh, yeah.
Did webs get shot at you?
No. I already said, like, it wasn't that impressive except for those 2 things of, like, the multiverse cracking and the mirror universe. Like, the 3D didn't jump out that much, and pretty much the only 4DX stuff was, like, the seats went nuts when what was spinning? I think it was something, I forget what it was, but like something in the screen was, in the movie was spinning around, and the seats don't spin around, but they just, like, were at max, like you could throw someone out of a seat, like how much they were moving around.
Maybe
and then
the spell? I don't know.
Yeah, there's some it was Sandman when he's like a cyclone.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Power lines.
And then then they would just spray gas, when there's like destruction or demolition going on, and there was and like when bullets or something, or like when web shooters would shoot, like that little air blaster right next to your ear would go, which actually kind of got annoying after a while because there's 3 Spider-Men. But it was annoying because in my 4DX screening, there was this group of like teen girls, and they just would like laugh at everything that happened. Like even when Aunt May was dying, they were giggling. And so, but like every time that air blaster went off, it'd freak them out, and they just like scream like it was a slasher movie,
You really do have just the worst theater experiences, Brad.
I do. I bought a seat, like it was pretty packed, so I had to get like a seat up in like the front, but then like none of the handicap people showed up, so I took one of the handicap seats, and it was like a big open, like I was in the middle for the 3D. It was great, And then like 30 minutes into the show, these girls walked in, and they like first they went to the back, and then they came down the front and took the other handicap seats. I was like, oh my god, just within earshot of all their like talking and giggling for 3 hours.
You know what? You need to go to Doctor Strange and make a wish that everybody would forget that you're sitting in a theater. So then that way they don't come near you.
What the Alamo needs to do is get 4DX.
Yeah.
Also, isn't like Spider-Man making a wish like your least favorite Spider-Man story, and yet this movie's awesome?
Well, it's the only reason I don't like that one is because he made a deal with the devil.
Mephisto?
Yeah. And he did that to save Aunt May's life. So Mephisto erased Peter Parker's identity from everybody. And oh no, actually, sorry, it's really convoluted. Mephisto was willing to save Aunt May if Peter Parker and Mary Jane's marriage never happened. Pete went to Doctor Strange to make people forget that he was Spider-Man, and then Harry Osborn randomly showed up again. It was really convoluted and stupid, but they fixed that this year, so in a really satisfying way.
Just in time for this movie.
This seemed to streamline it though, because I've heard Craig tell that doing Mephisto in the MCU seems impractical and impossible.
He's a villain in Multiverse of Madness. I'm just going to keep saying that for every Marvel project, like everybody else. Eventually, he has to show up.
Yeah, the Multiverse of Madness looks cool. Trailer at the end.
It's really great.
Yep.
That was probably the biggest surprise for me, because internet spoiled everything, guys.
Yeah.
I already knew the Spider-Man were showing up. I knew Aunt May was going to die.
Well, you don't have to go on the internet looking for it.
It just shows up. I didn't do it.
I
saw the Spider-Man spoilers months ago.
Corinne, I'm sorry. This is a place where I am gonna take Ryan's side on this. You probably should have just avoided this.
No, I'm gonna defend Corinne. I even wrote it in my review of just like, how cool would this movie have been if you didn't know the Spider-Men were gonna show up? Like, it would have been on par with like Captain America, lifting up Milner. Like, I knew that stuff months ago too, just because, without even trying to look for it,
Well, it was speculation that they were going to show up. But Corinne sent me a message. She seeks this stuff out, like on Tumblr.
I don't seek it out. It just appears. People don't tag their spoilers, man.
You don't have to go on Tumblr.
I came across that stuff just looking on, just browsing Twitter, not even like looking for movie stuff,
Yeah, that's why I don't go on Twitter around this time either, because they do it all the time, because Twitter is the worst social media site
pushes
ever.
like those shitty like geek news sites, and like they always have those fan theory bullshit ads. It's like, oh, there's someone's thinking about like, what if this movie has Spider-Man in it? I'm like, oh, that'd have been cool if I never thought of that idea.
Well, I mean, you kind of already knew. There's this really funny video of paparazzi following Tobey Maguire, and they asked him if he was in the new Spider-Man movie. This is, I don't know, like a month ago, and he just winked at him. Like, oh. Where, Andrew Garfield flat out said, I'm not in it. I know I'm going to disappoint a lot of people. But yeah, it's still fun. I'm okay with it.
So the Multiverse of Madness trailer was amazing, especially because, well, at least the first time I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's Strange Supreme. Like, he's going to be one of the big bads of the movie, and like Prime Strange and Strange Supreme are going to have to duke it out. And now I'm second guessing whether it is Strange Supreme, because the character design and the costume isn't quite right. We'll see.
I think it is. I read somewhere that it is, because I think it was Kevin Feige that said that you should watch What If before you see it.
As I was telling you in text, I mean, I'm definitely leaving open the possibility that it is him, but I'm also leaving open the possibility that it's not, or that it's like basically him, but they won't like actually confirm it. You know what I mean? It'll just be like just vague enough so that people don't actually have to watch What If. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Obviously, he's seeing an evil version of himself. So,
Right.
He's like the Star Trek mirror version of Doctor
Yeah,
Strange. It's
pretty
kind of
much.
funny.
I like the
Pretty
whole
much.
things just got out of hand because I'm like, haha, hands. Good one, Doctor Strange.
Ryan, can you give me your speculation on whoever Bruce Campbell's going to be? He's going to have to be there somewhere.
Yeah. Gee, I don't even know. I mean, he's going to be something silly. He's going to be the landlord of the Sanctum Sanctorum. I don't know.
That would be both stupid and wonderful all at once.
Well, we see that Christine Palmer is getting married and presumably not to Doctor Strange, so maybe she's going to be marrying Bruce Campbell.
She couldn't have picked a better mate.
Yes. Cool. So yeah, see Spider-Man. It's awesome.
Yeah, do it.
I sure hope Multiverse of Madness starts queuing up this next arc of movies, because even after this one, I'm still wondering, like, what is the point of all this, like, what if and Eternals, like, leading up to
Multiverse.
And Shang-Chi and credits scene. Like, it's leading up to the multiverse, but it's been like, what, 6 movies this year? And I'm just like, what is the point of all this? Like, where are we headed? I'm so lost.
I mean, maybe there isn't. Well, I'm sure they'll figure out a big bad eventually, but for now, I'm fine with these smaller smaller, relatively speaking, stories of just, different characters doing different stuff. Loki meeting different versions of himself, Spider-Man meeting different versions of himself, Shang-Chi getting introduced, fighting his dad, the usual.
Yep. Well, I mean, Kang shows up in Quantum Mania for sure.
And we still got the Celestials floating around.
Yep.
Is Ant-Man 2 years out still?
Yes. Or is it next year? Maybe it's next July.
I think it's 2023.
Because Strange is May.
March. I thought it was March.
No, it's moved to May.
Oh.
I forget what else is coming out next year.
Backing away.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, 2023, July 28th.
Yeah. What comes out next year? Then it's
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh yeah, Black Panther. No, I think Black Panther got postponed too, didn't it? Because Letitia Wright got hurt.
Google still says November 2022.
Oh yeah, maybe just push it to November. So you got
Thor's summer.
Oh yeah, that movie I can't wait for.
Yeah, July 8th. Ooh, day before my birthday.
Yeah, nice. Cool. Hey, what's happening in movie news?
It's real news.
Yeah. So Spider-Man in No Way Home made $260 million domestically at the box office.
Yeah, and I was reading it made $40 million yesterday.
There had to be a movie that was going to bring things out of the surge, or out of this dearth of activity at the box office.
600 million globally.
Yeah. I'm not going to rain on the Spider-Man parade too much though, but I will point out that, come on guys, go see fucking Nightmare Alley and West Side Story. It's not that hard. They're just as good. That's all. I'm done.
Just as I don't know about that.
I have yet
One
to go
is
into
the culmination of 20 years worth of Spider-Man films, and the other is Steven Spielberg doing a musical,
which was great and amazing. And
Yeah,
I
before.
already have
not for everybody.
I already have my plans for Nightmare Alley this week, but this unfortunately doesn't make me smile all the way, because I'd like to see all these films do great. So, anywho, though, this does indicate that there is still interest in seeing a movie in a movie theater. So movies aren't dead. And you should continue going to see them in a theater each and every week. Moving on, we got another trailer for the Harry Potter 20th anniversary reunion. Ryan, are you excited for this?
Sure.
You're the bigger Harry Potter fan out of all of us.
Yeah, I know. I love Harry Potter, and Yeah, I'll sit down and watch them reminisce about it.
It's just weird seeing them all grown up. Look at that. Look at that. There's that like save image on the trailer. It's just like, yikes. Let's just give us the cursed child already as a movie or something.
They could.
I don't want to see that.
Now that I'm thinking about it, let's just do that. That'd be great. It'd be a wonderful idea. Last piece of news that I really have is that we're going to get a documentary on Beanie Babies. Anybody remember Beanie Babies?
I still have Beanie Babies.
I have a shitload of them because Laura collected them, and her mom says, "Oh, Kellen will like these," so I have a shitload of them.
Ah, there you go. Well, from director Yamisi Brooks comes a documentary about Beanie Babies, the stuffed toys on everyone's minds and shelves in the late 90s. Beanie Mania is an illuminating and entertaining exploration of how a children's toy spawned an unprecedented investment bubble and a frenzy of American greed. Whoa. All this from plush bear dolls. Yikes. So yeah, look for this on Thursday, December 23rd. So after this has already come out. So, and that's news, guys. Really, it's just Spider-Man saved the box office.
Yeah, Spider-Man saves everybody.
Yeah. Go see Nightmare Alley and West Side Story.
Also, Sunday was the 20th anniversary of Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring. And
Yes,
did anybody else watch the full bear lap?
No, but I saw that interesting news story where apparently Weinstein, when he had the rights to everything, was so Corinne's got the Diana Beanie Baby. Oh, there you go, Corinne.
Came off. I have others. They're just at the bottom of the storage bin, but this was the first one I found.
This is the first one you found? Oh.
Yeah, I don't have any of the ones that like are worth a lot of money. I just have the ones I have.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's cool. I had the bongo, the monkey one. But you bringing that up, Corinne, there was a news story because there was an interview with one of the producers, and when Weinstein had the initial rights on the project, he was trying to get Jackson to cut it down to 2.5 hour movie, and he said, if you don't do it, I'm going to bring Quentin Tarantino in to do it. And I loved watching Twitter blow up with what ifs. Because that would have been insane and stupid.
Yeah, well, as we know, Harvey Weinstein is a piece of garbage.
Oh yeah, he is. He's an immense sack of trash.
Not only for everything that he did to women in Hollywood and everyone else, but also because the bastard wanted to cut Princess Mononoke down to like half of its actual runtime, and Hayao Miyazaki sent him like a dagger or a katana or something, and it said no cuts. And it aired as it was supposed to, but that bastard, I'm glad he did not get his way.
I would have also accepted Hayao Miyazaki sending him a single note that says kill yourself, because how dare you try to cut down one of Miyazaki's films? That's dumb. That's stupid. Don't do that. But that is news, guys.
Movies to get before the Christmas day.
DVD releases and Blu-rays.
All right, guys. Get ready to complete your Daniel Craig Bond saga cassettes with No Time to Die coming to you in 4K and Blu-ray, featuring several variants, including a steel book that looks pretty interesting. It's fine. It's not my favorite looking steel book. And an alternate at Target, which has Bond on his motorcycle from the opening sequence of the movie. And then there's also another one here that is a Walmart exclusive that looks rather boring, but it does apparently come with a saffron mask keychain, and I kind of want that.
You want the bad guy's weird mask?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Just be a weird random thing to have on your keys. I've got random Bond stuff around the house. When I bought the box set of all the Bond movies, it came with a mini diecast car from Spectre, and I'm like, I don't need this, but it's still on the shelf. Also coming to you from Scream Factory is The Vampire Lovers from 1970. Ryan, do you have this one coming? Is this a blind buy for you?
No, I actually own it. Scream Factory released it. It was an internet only one they released about 6 years ago.
Oh, so now this is a mass market one.
Yeah, well, this one too, and they have a new transfer and new features. It's an okay movie. I don't know if I want to double dip on it.
Gotcha. I feel you. Also, coming to you from the Film Detective is the Sherlock Holmes Vault Collection. This contains 4 films from the 1931 to 1937 span before Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce graced the screen with perfection. So you can get the Fatal Hour from 1931, A Study in Scarlet from 1933, The Triumph of Sherlock Holmes from 1935, and Silver Blaze from 1937. I've seen none of these, Ryan. I'm going to blind buy this so that I can watch some early Sherlock Holmes stuff.
Right on.
Yeah, can't go wrong there. Demon Slayer, the movie, Mugen Train, coming to you from Funimation Entertainment. I believe this is the one that was released in theaters. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. So,
but secretly made like a whole bunch of money.
Yeah,
and surprised everyone.
We're gonna talk about Demon Slayer later in what we've been watching, Corinne, along with some more Fruits Basket. So yeah, but also woke up this morning, get yourself a copy of Many Saints of Newark on Blu-ray only. No 4K available from what I see here. Oh, never mind, there is a 4K, because of course there would be. Also coming to you from Shout Factory is Lady in a Cage from 1964. What happens in this elevator is not for the weak. It is perhaps not even for the strong. Do not see it alone. Lady in a Cage. This is a movie that got a lot of talk about it when de Havilland passed away, because she followed in that trend with other actresses of the era where they were relegated to horror roles, but they just chewed up the scenery and did everything with every moment they could get on there. Also, you can get Mary Pickford's film Sparrows from 1926, coming to you from VCI. And it's not much else, really. Seems like a slim pickings for the week of for the lead up to Christmas.
Usually is.
Yeah. Next week's though is fun because you get the Shawscope Volume 1 from Arrow and French Dispatch.
Cool.
That's it.
We watch stuff throughout the week in a segment I call What We've Been Watching.
So, yeah, this is the stuff we've been watching.
Brad, what'd you watch this week?
A lot of TV. I rewatched The Dick Van Dyke Show, all 5 seasons.
Yeah.
That was great. But really, I rewatched The French Dispatch for my 7th time this year.
Wow. Is that the movie you've seen the most?
It's tied with Suicide Squad. So if I can
Nice.
get one more screening in before it leaves theaters, probably next week, then it might take the crown. But yeah, the other thing I watched was Nightmare Alley.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
So
Stay
people are
tuned. That's
watching
our
it, Zach.
film of the week.
Are we doing
What was
that one
that?
next week?
No, it'll be the week after.
Yeah, the week after. It's going to be the final regular episode.
How is Nightmare Alley
So
in a word?
So after Matrix, we're doing Nightmare Alley and not Kingsman.
Yep.
Okay, I just need to know for like I'm making images and stuff ahead of time. You know.
Yeah. Zach requested Nightmare Alley about 2 months ago. So
Well, maybe I should just keep my mouth shut then.
Yeah, please do. I have not had an opportunity to go yet.
I'll just say it was boring.
Oh, fuck you.
Was it really, or are you just fucking with him?
You know what, Brad? The Suicide Squad is a fun trauma movie, and comic books have nothing to do with it.
I'm being serious. I think the movie starts halfway through.
Okay. Well, I would ask you to watch the original, but we know you're not going to do that.
I didn't know it was a remake until after I saw it. So
Gotcha. I recommend the original is fantastic. I'm super excited to see what Guillermo del Toro does with it. So
after
I
I heard
didn't know
that,
it was a remake until you just said that.
no, yeah, with Tyrone Power and Joan Blondell. Yeah.
after I found out, I was like, yeah, I can see this be like being the same movie as the one from like, I don't know, 50 years ago.
Spoilers for my soon to be released favorite Blu-rays of 2021.
Oh, it better
Nightmare
be on that
Alley
list.
Makes it on the list.
Damn right it does. God, that's a great Blu-ray, Ryan. That's a great fucking Blu-ray. Yep. Fantastic. Well, right on. Thank you, Brad. I'm super excited to debate this with you on the final regular version of Real Nerds Podcast before we reboot.
Yeah. I guess that's all I watched. I watched Discovery season 4 they're on now, and it's less serialized, and there's a lot of scenes of people just being like, you can always count on me and I believe in you. So that's a little boring.
Yeah, fuck those people.
Yeah, I think that's it for me.
Corinne, what'd you watch this week?
Oh, lots of Christmas stuff, but I'm going to focus on the TV shows because I've been watching a lot since I was on last time. So I'll talk about 3 TV shows. I've been watching Foundation with my dad on Apple TV, and there's 10 episodes and we're on the 5th one. So we're about halfway through. It's pretty good. I definitely wanted to watch more episodes, but I have to wait for him. So I'm like, dang it, like there's like mysteries and there's conflict and stuff. And I'm like, I want to see the resolution here. And it's like, dip. Nope, gotta wait. Okay. But the premise is that there's this mathematician who's is it Jared Harris? I can't remember who plays him now, but he basically foretells the downfall of civilization in this like space age colony empire. And the emperor, who's played by Lee Pace, which that whole thing is really cool, but basically sends him and his followers into exile. And they are the Foundation. They are basically supposed to catalog all of them, as much of human knowledge as possible, for like the people who come after like the downfall of civilization, so that there's this supposed to be this like period of darkness, and instead of it being tens of thousands of years, they only want it to be like 1,000 years, and so they're trying to catalog as much knowledge as they can to shorten that period of darkness before humanity rises and civilization returns. So they get sent into Terminus at the very end of the universe, and it's really cool. There's a lot going on, and murder mysteries and war, and I just love the concept of the emperors. So Cleon the First is the emperor, and he ends up cloning himself to be his successors. And so there are 3 clones at any given time, and they're called Brother Dawn, Brother Day, and Brother Dusk. And so it's kind of cool because you jump around in time. So you jump forward like 35 years. And by the time you do that, the one that had been Brother Dawn, which was the youngest one, is now Brother Day. And you can see like the things that happened 35 years ago are still affecting him psychologically and how he sees the world. So it's really cool. And Lee Pace does a really great job of playing different versions of the same, not the same clone, but like different clones of the same guy that have been impacted by different things. It's a bit hard to explain. You'd have to see the show. It's pretty good. I'll report back once I have seen the whole thing, but I recommend it based on what I've seen so far. So then the other show I've been watching is The Little Mermaid. The TV show, not the movie. Obviously, I've seen the movie, but I watched the TV show a lot when I was a kid. And it's weird because there are some episodes I remember so vividly, like even down to like the songs and like the cadence of way that the characters speak and like different scenes.
Is this a cartoon, Corinne? I don't even know what this is.
Yeah. No, it was a
from the
cartoon.
90s,
It was
right?
on the Disney Channel. Yeah, it was like 92 to 94.
I remember it.
I remember watching it on the Disney Channel back when I think the Disney Channel was only on like satellite or something. I don't remember. My grandma had satellite, and so the only way I could watch it for a long time was at her house. So that was kind of like my special treat, was whenever I got to go over to grandma's house her and my grandpa would usually take a nap in the afternoons, and they'd let me stay up and like watch TV while they were napping. And so I usually got to watch The Little Mermaid because that was usually what was on at that time. So I have a lot of fond memories of sitting there and watching the episode about, Stormy, the seahorse that she wants to ride off into the wilderness and all this stuff. But it's kind of weird because, like I said, there's some episodes I remember really, really well, and then other episodes I'm like, I don't remember this at all. So season 1 is actually really good. Very much in the vein of, The Little Mermaid. Was that you, Ryan? Did you snort?
Yeah, sorry.
I'm looking this up. They bring back Kenneth Mars to play King Triton, and they got
all of the voice actors come back. All of them.
No, because Scuttle was played by Buddy Hackett in the first
everybody
film.
but Scuttle. Scuttle doesn't show up till season 3 anyway.
Played by Maurice LaMarche in the show.
Pat Carroll comes back to do Ursula in a couple of episodes.
Yeah,
the voice cast they got for this.
I'm looking at it. It aired from 92 to 94. How did this never rerun for us? It's weird.
It's on Disney Plus if y'all want to watch it.
I'm curious now.
So I will tell you that some of the guest voice actors who come in and help out sometimes, one of them is Jim Cummings, who is in quite a few episodes. He's just there doing various characters. So he comes in. Tim Curry plays the evil Manta, who pops up in like maybe 5 or 6 episodes. Mark Hamill is in 2 episodes.
I just read this. He plays Hans Christian Andersen.
He does. Yeah, that was one of the ones I remember, is that Hans Christian Andersen goes underwater in this like little submarine thing, and he gets stuck. And so the Little Mermaid and her friends have to free him. And then it ends with like King Triton's voice actor going like, "You can find Hans Christian Andersen books at your local library." Okay.
I'm reading this right now. There's a character called the Magical Wishing Starfish that's voiced by the late magician Tony Jay. He's a giant starfish.
I forgot Tony Jay was in it.
He's a giant starfish with a beard and crown, because of course he is.
Yes, that is the episode. That is incidentally the highest rated episode on IMDb, because they introduced the character of Gabriella, who is a deaf mermaid, and they based that character on a girl who was a fan of the show in the first season.
Aww.
And so When You Wish Upon a Starfish was an episode in the second season. And then the character of Gabriella comes back in season 3. So yeah, and then also Clancy Brown is in an episode, and Ron Perlman shows up at one point. So
please tell me he plays Hellboy.
He plays Apollo, so have fun with that.
That's as close as I'm gonna get.
Did you all watch like Disney shows back in the day?
I just don't remember.
Did you see the Aladdin show? Like, I remember watching the Aladdin show too.
Rescue Rangers, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck. That was.
Yep,
yeah,
that's what I watched.
Those ones. I remember the Aladdin TV show, kind of.
I don't remember any specific episodes, but I remember the intro was awesome.
I remember the Timon and Pumbaa show. I do remember that. Gargoyles. Yeah, no. I'm drawing a blank on everything else.
I watch Gargoyles. I don't know. I just watch The Little Mermaid a lot, so I have a great fondness for it. But anyway, season 1 is actually pretty good. And then season 2 and 3, I think they had different like head writers or producers or something, because the quality kind of starts going downhill. Like, I'm in season 3 now, and I'm like, God, each episode is not so much a treat. It's like a chore to get through. And I don't know if they just ran out of ideas or if the execution was off, but it's just not very good. Like, there's an episode where Sebastian gets kidnapped and he gets taken by an evil scientist who wants to do experiments on crabs. And it's just weird. It's really weird. But there are some really good episodes in season 1. And honestly, like, the writing and the humor is perfect. And they just shit all over Sebastian, and I love it. And it's not in like a mean-spirited way. It's more just it's not like Toby from The Office. It's more like I don't know, Jason in The Good Place or something.
It's just it disheartens me, because all he's trying to do is keep his job. You understand? He's just trying to keep his job. and everybody has to fuck with him.
Well, there are definitely some continuity errors between the TV show, the original movie, the sequel, and then the sequel slash prequel, the Little Mermaid Beginnings or whatever it's called.
It's a pretty convoluted franchise.
Yeah. Anyway, and then the last thing I'll talk about is Hanyo no Yashahime, the Inuyasha sequel. They're kind of finishing up this arc now. All the characters have been on their separate adventures, and now they're starting to come back together again. And man, this show just really wants to like kill me by making me cry because man, they are just so the main character Toa, she's being psychologically and emotionally tortured right now by the main villain, who is also responsible for separating the main characters from their parents for 14 years and cursing their mom to die. And so because of that, she's been in a coma inside of a magical tree for 14 years. Complicated. But now she's dying because of brouhaha. And so she asked the younger daughter to go save the older daughter. And it's just, man, it's a lot of emotional, like just sorrow. And I know it's going to have a happy ending, but it's just a lot of drama and sadness right now. So anyway, Hanyo no Yashahime, watch it if you want to cry. Yeah, it's a lot. But it should the next episode that we're going to get on Christmas should be really good. We're getting they're wrapping up some storylines, and we might get some of the old characters who have been missing for a while. They might start returning here. So anyway, that's what I've been watching.
Zach?
All right. I didn't watch a lot, but Corinne, I'm glad you're here because we can talk some Fruits Basket.
Yay! I was listening to your guys' the West Side Story episode today, and I heard you say I wish Corinne was here. We could talk about Fruits Basket.
Yeah, I need your help. So I am currently 2 more episodes in. So I watched episodes 3 and 4. And so Kyo is slowly becoming my most interesting character to watch, because he is, you want to immediately kind of say like, oh, he's just some antisocial brat, but they do this incredible thing with him and Toru finding a connection that just floored me. Like, I was just like and these episodes aren't that long. Like, these are like 23 to 27 minutes, I want to say. Yeah. It's hard to tell because I watch them on Hulu with ads. And they find a way to turn around that character so quick while also giving additional elements of Yuki, because I love how Yuki basically goes like, man, like Kyo doesn't realize how great he's got it because he doesn't get burdened by the same things that I do as a member of the actual Zodiac. And I just love that they're already setting up this dynamic. Like, I love that this is character based and that there isn't, like, so far as I can tell, there isn't this overarching like villain plot or anything like that. Like, nobody's coming to collect any stones. Why are you giving me that look, Corinne? Why are you giving me that look? No, please don't tell me this is an MCU situation.
There is an overarching antagonist.
Is it? I guess I shouldn't even ask, but I'm having a guess and say it's has to do with the person who runs their entire house.
The head of the Soma household. Yeah,
gotcha. All right. So, but the other thing in episode 4, we get Shigure, or I'm sorry, Kagura, the boar.
Yeah,
and something that I have learned to adjust myself to is the fluctuation of humor to seriousness on this version of the anime show. And when I cannot help but laugh my butt off when Kagura is smacking the shit out of Kyo. like I missed you so much. There's like just moments of that show that really work well because it's a character based show for the most part. Yeah, I'm enjoying this. I'm going into episode 5, which I've been told that is going to give me the origin of the title of the show. So we will see where that plays out. But I also watched the first episode of Demon Slayer on Netflix, Corinne.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
I know a lot of people who have, and they like it. I don't know. Maybe I watch it one day, but
everybody needs to bear with me because I'm trying to remember the specific character names of the show. But this kid goes off to sell coal in a town, and they live in like the woods. He goes back home one night, and a person on his way over says like, don't travel anymore tonight, the demons are out there, come stay in the house. And this kid is like, he's got an extra sense of scent, like he can smell, like he's got like, he's able to detect stuff through scent. And he gets told about the legend of demons. He goes home and his entire family is slaughtered, and it is one of the most brutal things I've ever seen. It's unapologetically brutal. He finds out that his last, the last remaining member of his family is still breathing, or still warm is the word that he uses. She's still the only one that's still warm. So he's carrying her across the woods, and then suddenly she pops up and starts attacking him because she has been infected by a demon, and she is seemingly coming out of it and begin to recognize her brother when an actual demon slayer shows up, and the majority of the episode is literally a standoff between the demon slayer and the brother. And so this show really only, like, so far it only has like 4 or 5 scenes really with very minimal location, and it gets the most out of its storytelling. Like I was floored by it, and it looks beautiful. There's some 2.5D anime action going on there with the forest environment. So you can kind of see like a little bit more of like a 3D, like a Pixar kind of look to it, but then it goes right back to a flat 2D style. And again, I am not brought up to speed on anime that's been coming out within the last 10 years. So this is like, I'm sure this is like been done in other pieces, but Corinne, I think you might enjoy it, but I know you don't like violence and horror and stuff, and this one has horror adjacent imagery and lots of blood. So
as a lot of shonen anime does. Yeah, actually I watched a couple of episodes of Fire Force with my sister. She's been, starting it up, and I haven't watched shonen anime in a while, but yeah, it's all a lot of the same tropes. So It's like, main character's got a power up and they got some killer move, and then there's a quest of revenge or something, and it's like, wow.
I would give
not
this
like derivative, but it's like, okay, after you've seen like 5 of them, you're like, I've seen pretty much every anime. Well,
I'll tell you, Corinne, this one impressed me, so I would urge you to give it a shot. And the good news is you have a lot of time to catch up because I think there's only 1 season on Netflix now. So
I mean, like I said, I know it's really popular. When we were at not Pop Culture Con, Fan Expo, I'd say about like 1 out of every 5 people, or 1 out of every 5 merch items was Demon Slayer.
Mm-hmm. There was a lot of cosplay from it too. Now recognizing what the characters look like, there's a lot of people dressed up as the sister. So, but yeah. And then the last thing that I watched was I went to an Alamo brunch with my girlfriend to watch her favorite holiday movie, The Holiday. I'd never seen it before. Ryan, this movie
That's
is
the
really...
one where they switch houses, right?
Yeah, Ryan, this movie's got a lot of golden age Hollywood references in it up the wazoo, so I think you might enjoy this movie.
Is it the Queen Latifah one?
No. It's Cameron Diaz, Kate Winslet, Jack Black, and Jude Law.
I've seen this, but it's been like 10 plus years.
I adored it. So Cameron. So Kate Winslet plays a journalist who is pining after this asshole who has ignored her for 3 years after they broke off a relationship of sorts, and she finds out that he's getting married, and she is obviously despondent because she's pining after him, and part of the lesson is that she needs to tell him to go fuck off. But she's trying to seek some sort of escape. Meanwhile, in LA, Cameron Diaz is a movie trailer editor who has found out that Edward Burns has cheated on her. So she proceeds to punch him really fucking hard outside of their house in a very triumphant fashion, and then is seeking a getaway of her own. And Diaz and Winslet find each other on this like house swap site for vacationing. And so they basically live in each other's houses for a holiday. And both are kind of looking to escape a man of some kind or like a relationship. But they end up finding love, as these movies can wonderfully do when they're done correctly. And in the case of Cameron Diaz, she runs into Jude Law, who plays Kate Winslet's brother. And he is charming as all sin in this movie. Like it's beautifully disgusting how wonderfully charming he is in this movie. I was swooning over him like the entire time. Like he's just so fucking wonderful. And Jack Black is equally as wonderful as a guy who was friends with Cameron Diaz's ex that runs into Kate Winslet while in LA. And they start hanging out, and it's Jack Black in 2006. So you're getting him for one reason, which is to play off of his comedy persona, but he melds it really good with this emotional core surrounding his own relationship. So the movie though has a secret weapon, and it's Eli Wallach playing an aged screenwriter who thinks that everybody's forgotten him. And so it's a secret geezer exploitation movie in the process. And these movies know how to steal my heart when they do a scene where he says earlier, I'm not going to go to this award ceremony honoring my career. Nobody will remember me. It'll be 11 people. And then they take him to an auditorium, and there's a whole audience applauding him and his career in Hollywood back in the 40s. And so it just was like catnip to me. But it's great. I appreciate Nancy Meyer. I'm glad I caught this one. And I had never been to an Alamo brunch before. And recommendation, those breakfast tacos are fucking delicious. So, overall, it's a fun time. I really didn't have any problems with the film. Like, for a movie from 2006 that's dealing in the rom-com territory, it held up surprisingly well. I'm glad to see that it's been able to translate past the year it was made. So, and that's all I've been watching.
You're making me want to rewatch it, Zach. My parents and I have been watching like a Christmas movie every night, and it's usually something stupid. So I will have to tell them, like, we need to watch The Holiday, because I don't know if they've seen it.
It's kind of a Christmas movie, but it's also kind of just a general holiday movie.
I think it's a Christmas movie. It's a Christmas movie enough it counts.
Yeah. Also, Cameron Diaz is great, and I wish she'd come back. I like her. She's really good. She's fun to watch. And also it's fun watching Kate Winslet have fun, because usually I tend to see Kate Winslet suffering in some form or fashion, and that's not always fun to watch. Yep. That's
Ryan,
it.
what about you?
I'm just waiting. I didn't want to interrupt. I missed last week. Work's been a pain in the ass lately. So I'll just breeze through some things. West Side Story is really fun. It's made with a lot of energy, and I had tons of fun watching it. Spielberg is still one of the greatest directors ever. Did I talk about Psycho Gorman? Watching that again? I don't think so.
You posted
You
about
didn't
it.
like it the first time. Why did you watch it again?
So I have a problem of I like to watch movies on Blu-ray, and
Join the club.
as the end of the year starts approaching, I go back and I look at Blu-rays that have come out that I might want to check out. and Psycho Gorman's Blu-ray is like packed. So I was like, you know what? I'll give this another go. And watching it a second time, knowing how stupid it is, made it way more fun. And
Oh yeah.
And when I listened to the commentary and the interview with the director and him talking about how he just did things because they were stupid, made me appreciate it a lot more too. So that was fun. I finally dug through the Blu-ray of The Suicide Squad, and that's a great Blu-ray. I laugh every time the weasel drowns. Good stuff.
Did you listen to Gunn's commentary where he's just like, yeah, I didn't prepare for this thing?
Yep.
Sorry.
The rest of the Blu-ray is pretty great, though. There's a lot of special features on it. The movie is probably going to be one of my favorites for Film Explosion, which happens in like 3 weeks. I watched MacGruber, the TV series, and it is fucking awesome.
So did I. Sorry.
Right
you guys
away,
having Peacock?
Well, just the first episode because I didn't pay for the rest of the season yet.
Gotcha.
Well, the first episode where Maya Rudolph is singing "What Happened." Oh,
recapping the first movie.
It's so great. I got sucked into the world of MacGruber immediately. When he's in prison and he's that one guy that says, "I'm gonna who wants to have this rubber ball shoved up their ass?" And he says, "I want it shoved up my ass." And then he does it himself. It's just really funny. I think I enjoy it more because how much my wife hates MacGruber, because she just doesn't get it.
Don't worry, we're here for you, Ryan.
So, Brad, you watched the first episode. The first episode when MacGruber is watching Vicky and Lawrence Fishburne have sex, or is that the second episode?
It's the first episode.
I watched them all. I don't remember.
It's the first.
Yeah, I had to hear it and see it and smell it. I don't want you just to use your penis to fuck her in her vagina. I also want you to fuck her in her heart. So stupid. It's awesome. Oh, fuck. It's stupid and awesome. So yeah, make sure if you have Peacock to watch MacGruber. That's something I think you'd like, Corinne.
Definitely not.
Oh, Corinne.
Just you saying that line, Ryan, made me cringe.
Yeah, that's why it's funny.
Yes, Corinne, you're technically correct. However, this movie is downright silly and out of its mind, and so the TV show thusly will be just that. Like, MacGruber's a genuine first-class idiot. It's great.
The third episode where he has to strip naked because he's being exchanged for the president's daughter, but the first thing that comes running out is the dog, and he's like, "We're a fucking dog." He spends like the whole next episode naked too. It's really funny.
Oh man, I gotta pay for it now.
Dude, it's so funny. They better release it on Blu-ray. And the last thing I watched is Pig with Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah.
This movie's really good.
Damn right it is.
It's funny because the trailer sells it as like this huge revenge thriller.
Yeah.
And it's really him just looking for his pig. That's all it is.
Yeah, like they totally throw you a curveball thinking like, oh, we got Nicolas Cage in this movie. He's totally going to go off. But like every scene, you think he's going to snap. And it's just like, no, actually, I'm going to do something nice for this guy.
If you redid the marketing for this, the tagline would be, he's going to kill them with kindness. Yeah. Like that's literally the movie.
Because it's a great, I don't know how to describe this movie because even IMDb puts it as a thriller. I mean, I guess maybe, but anyways, the movie Pig, Nicolas Cage plays a guy who lives in the mountains of Oregon, and he has a truffle pig who is stolen from him one day, and all he wants is his pig back, and he doesn't care about anything else. He just wants his pig back. But as you go through this journey with him, you find out that he is this world-renowned chef, and he decided not to be one anymore. And it's just him going through and trying to get his pig back. And the last dinner scene with the rich guy and his son who buys the truffles from Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah, Adam Arkin, yeah.
Yeah, and he makes that dinner for him the night his wife died. It's just like so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
And Nicolas Cage, it's interesting when you see him in this because you go, oh, he is a good actor. Because I also saw him this year say with one fucking testicle in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just refreshing. And the Blu-ray is really fascinating because there's only like 2 special features, but 50 minutes of it is Nicolas Cage working with a really famous chef on how to make like a mushroom truffle tart and something else. And it's really fascinating. I totally bought it blind. One of my friends who I met through Facebook and is just a Rod Stewart fan recommended me watching it. And it was, I don't know, I think it was $9 at Best Buy. I was like, all right, whatever. And I got it. And yeah, it's really good.
So
it wasn't enough for me and Zach to recommend it.
Yeah. What's the deal, bud? I thought we were friends.
No, I'm sure you guys did. I just didn't remember. And he just mentioned that it was a good movie. So
here's what we do, Brad. Every time we want Ryan to watch a movie, we text him that title each day until he fucking does it.
I mean, admittedly, you guys like recommend so many movies. We all recommend so many movies to each other that I think at some point it just becomes white noise. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, like, whatever, I'll get around to it one day. But if somebody you know who wasn't like really into movies said, hey, you should check this out, you'd be like, oh, wait a minute, I might actually do that.
That's actually a fair point. Yeah.
They're a Rod Stewart fan. Obviously, they know what movies are good.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. They have good taste.
Now that I think about it, a good way to describe this movie is if Ted Lasso was an art house film.
I might have to watch this then.
I haven't seen Ted Lasso, so I can't comment. I just know that this movie is like probably one of the most positive movies of the year, like
Is
in
it
terms of its
streaming
outlook.
somewhere?
It's probably one of the most positive shows of the year.
I don't know.
Hold on.
I think
I'm looking at it right now.
Is it an A24 movie?
You can get it through Hulu subscription. No, it's not A24. You can get it through Hulu subscription, and you can rent it for $1.99 on Amazon. The company is Neon, distributors of Parasite.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you should watch it. And it might not be for everybody, but I liked it. And it was really kind of short. I think it was only like 90 minutes long. It went by really fast.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was just interesting.
Yeah, I gotta watch that Nicolas Cage cooking food thing.
Yeah,
sounds great.
Yeah, it's really interesting because he wants to do it well, and this chef is kind of berates him like, you're not cutting the food right,
like Gordon Ramsay.
Not like that hardcore, but it's cool to see Nicolas Cage kind of just. I mean, I guess it's kind of method acting, but he wants to be believable on screen, and I mean, they give you no context of why he's there learning how to cook, but that's my guess. Because it's just him showing up and cooking. It's in the kitchen. It's interesting. And like his character's makeup and stuff. It's fascinating. It's one of my favorite bonus features of the year, and it's really nothing. I can't describe it. But yeah, that's what I watched this week. This week on Real Nerds, or next week, I guess it would be, our film is The Matrix Resurrections. So we'll do we take the blue pill or the red pill? Stay tuned and find out.
We take the yellow pill. Spoiler alert.
It tastes like pee. Until next week, Merry Christmas, everybody. Have a nice holiday, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Yay.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Real Nerds Podcast. Real Nerds Podcast is a production of Nebulous Visions Multimedia. Thank you to Sparks Mandrill and Plan 9 Studios for our kick-ass theme song. Also, if you're in the Denver area and you're looking for a cool place to see movies, we see them at the Alamo Draft House in Littleton and now also in Sloan's Lake. Thank you to Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics for supplying us with all our comic needs, especially you, Andrew. You know who you are. And a big shout out to James's mom. I'm giving you an electronic hug that you can feel through the airwaves. Thanks for listening, and have a nice day.